I stopped myself from hand rubbing this time. Hey, hello, what's up, everyone, and welcome to the BINACT podcast where we talk music, the people that make it, and the communities that listen to it. Uh, it's cold, y'all. We're in fall. The season's changing. AD, how's life? You're back. How's it
Yes,
going?
it's been a while. It's really been a while.
I don't know why it just feels so long, but it's cold now. The last time we recorded, it was not cold. I mean, it was cooler, but it wasn't cold.
50's over here, so it's beyond hoodie season. But
Yeah,
wish everyone seems to be still in mine in my household. So yay!
it pays to be small. Nobody can steal my hoodies because no one can fit them. Very fun.
Jealous.
Very fun. Yeah, I sat down and the past couple days, like the air's been kicking on a little bit during the daytime, and then since the house is cool at night, it doesn't come on at night. But then I sat down tonight, I was like, oh, like no sleeves, this isn't cutting it. I'm cold. So I had to put on my crew neck that, also I haven't decided how I want to set up what I look like in video. Like I was realizing that when I
Yeah,
recorded the mini-sode last week. I don't know. I mean, the background's gonna be the background. And honestly, FYI for those of you that, are very upset that my background's kind of dark, fight me because I'm not
hey,
turning all these lights on. I'm not doing it. Like it's just not worth it. You get this ring. You can see my face. Like behind me, it's not important. It's just a bedroom. Like nothing behind me is important. But
but you gotta put lights on for the camera.
then I'd have to turn. I'm pointing for those who are listening to audio. I'd have to turn my overhead light on, and that
Yeah,
light's never on. And then you could see my whole room. And I don't like that.
and you see
I
mine.
don't like that.
You see
Well,
mine
at
right
least you
now.
have posters. I don't have anything behind me, and I don't like that. So one day, maybe I'll get this lighting situation figured out. But for now, it's my face. And actually, let's see. I think I want a little more cooler tones because it's cooler outside. But yeah, because sometimes I don't know. AD made our background, but my undertone, like I'm almost the same color as the bottom part of the thing, like with my
No, you're not.
undertone.
Oh, stop it.
And like with my no, not like this. I'm not like Simpsons orange, but like the the undertone of my face sometimes is like. Again, as you can tell, I was watching back some videos and like looking at stuff, and I was like, wow, like sometimes I feel like I'm washed out or, I need to like do something different.
No,
I
that's
haven't
why I said.
gotten that far.
That's why you say you gotta have the overhead light or at least adjust it. I don't have overhead light, but my lamp over here is so bright that basically lights up everything. So I
Yeah.
don't get washed out.
I'll figure it out one of these days. But for now, here we are. Just me looking like this with the undertone. I have like a warm undertone. And I think I noticed it in our first video with Jay Nolan, the one that we are posted online. I was like, wow, I just kind of look like orange. Not intentionally. I'm just orange. Can't change my skin, so I have to change something else.
Well, you could change your skin, be out here like Sammy Sosa.
It seems like too much work. Seems like too much work. I'm not even gonna do that segue. It's just I'm not even gonna do it because I honestly I am obviously like normally when we get back together we come back on like a pretty um at least highly discussed topic, whether it be on time, late, or whenever, because time, what is it? Who cares? Um, and the girlies are upset. And
Yeah, why don't y'all like each other?
I mean, don't. don't put me in it. The I should specify the rap girlies, they're upset. And what this won't be is a conclusive timeline and a reiteration of who said what because y'all fucking already know that. Like, be real.
Language. Remember, the algorithm does not like the language.
The algorithm doesn't like when there are two black men and a black woman on the same screen, but we're not gonna talk about that right now. YouTube, um, yeah. So I'm not gonna rehash it because you do know, like you are already aware. The tweets are scathing, the tweets and the back and forths, and honestly, um, I may not be able to have every single detail of this feud correct, but what you correct with a T because I
Mhm.
know words. But what you need to know is that the girlies are fighting and they've been fighting for a long time. And as a former Barb, I'm just gonna go on ahead and start with Miss Onika because she really deserves this. And at this point, I kind of wish she had someone in her corner to tell her like, "Hey, girl, let's chat. Let's sit down. Let's have a discussion." Because she's,
That's gonna be a theme of somebody need to tell them to sit down. But
I mean, but like, I particularly with Nikki because here's I'm gonna start with saying here's my thing with Miss Onika. Onika has like this huge ego. Like her ego is massive.
is it ego or is it insecurity or a mixture of both?
Ah, I honestly, I feel like it's 70% ego because I really feel like she believes in herself hard down. Like, this is really about like the entitlement factor and things like that. It's not insecurity because it's not, to me, it's not fear based. Like, it's not like hiding or like she really hard down. Like, here, for instance, to bring up an example, the whole thing where Nikki started to unravel was around Queen, and the rollout of Queen and then the release of Queen because I feel like Nikki really thought that Queen was good. And as even as a fan, because Pink Print, like we wanted Nikki, like by Pink Print, we wanted rapping ass Nikki back because we had a good bit of pop Nikki albums, so when she had came out with the runs and the features that she did around that time, that 2014, 2015-ish era,
Mm-hmm.
we were like, "Hey girl, rap please." You know what I mean? Like we were like, "Please, thank you. Pop is cool and we kind of enjoyed it, but like are you going to rap again or whatever?" So, it was also around the time that she had broke up with damn, what's his name
Safari.
again? That him. I forgot his name for a second. And so, like, that was happening, blah, blah, blah. She was dating Meek Mill. Like that, which for some reason that seems so far like that was like a long time ago. Um, but even in the Queen era, which I want to say Queen, and I'm about to Google this to make sure, but I think Queen came out in 2018. And am I
This sounds
right
about
about
right.
that?
This
It
sounds
did.
about right.
August 2018. And so her the thing about Queen, and the thing that this is an opinion from I mean, I can't really even call myself a Nicki Minaj fan anymore because I haven't been a fan of her music in quite some time. But as like a former hard down fan, Queen was underwhelming. And I mean, I personally think it was hot garbage. And I'm not important enough for her to come in my DMs, but it was not what she hyped it up to be. And it just, even like for what I wanted from Nicki, it didn't, the music just really don't be given what it's supposed to give. Um and which brings me to my point of like her ego. Like right now she just so big into like, "Hey, I'm still the queen and I am the best rapper and I don't have a Grammy and I and other girls," and like it's just a lot of like I said, I think it's 70% ego. I still think there's insecurities, but I think this is her ego talking, not being afraid. I don't think she's afraid of the other girls taking her spot. I don't think that she's like shaking in her boots. I think that she really just believes, like she's so into this shit. She just believes, she's like, "Yeah, I'm just still the best." Even though the music be or even though, I've taken time off and, tried to come or came back or whatever, the music has still been like I'm not gonna sit here and say it's bad. Like Nicki still can out rap, a lot of mediocre people, whatever, fine. But like to me, for the ego that she has, for the thing that she believes so highly about herself and her artistry, the music don't be adding up for me. And so I start the girlies are fighting are saying Nicki Minaj's ego is the problem. I'm gonna start at square one because I really think that if we trace this all back, I'm gonna give Nicki a majority of the blame for what's happening. Like, not to say that other girls have not participated, not to say that maybe there weren't some times where there wasn't like where Nicki wasn't the original catalyst, but this weird fake girl boss / fuck you behind your back energy, that's all Nicki, and I gotta give her that. Like, she has to stand up in that because her ego really started this whole shenanigan.
I go 50-50. I don't. I think it's there's as an artist, it's always good to have some type of healthy ego of to keep you going, to believe in yourself
I mean,
and what.
agreed.
But I think what ends up happening is that, especially in this regard, right? Because it really just came from the uh, Grammy nominations, which she was mad that she didn't get uh, a not that Super Freaky Girls in the pop category and not in the rap category,
And I will continue. I will hold that thought or keep
right?
going.
So I think her initial, I think her initial frustration or disappointment and being miscategorized, that was her issue. And I think if she just would have kept it that way, I think everyone would say, okay, we understand where you're coming from. But I think her insecurity always comes up into play because she's always uh judging herself against the other women rappers, you know. I think she feel like you said, I think that she does feel like she is the queen, but a lot of people forget that you can be a king or a queen and still be humble. And for
Yeah.
me, I think she always feels like, and this is, there is a place of insecurity about her place
In
in
music.
music,
And even to say like because you brought up the Grammys and like on one hand there is something where Nicki, again, the ego almost feels entitled, and to one point I do agree with the fact that like Nicki not having a Grammy is kind of criminal, not necessarily her fault, again, especially with the way that the Grammys have just shifted over the years. Nicki has made music that is Grammy worthy. So this is not like, me being like, girl, you're fucking stupid. Like, yeah, whatever. But like, it's like you said, like the way to handle all of this. And like, even, because like, again, when I was like a true barb, I remember watching, I think that was either the Pink Friday or the documentary that came out around the Pink print time or whatever. And she, like she always has that quote where it's like, yeah, well, when men talk about their stuff, like they're bossed up. And like when I do it, I'm a bitch. And like, on one hand, talk your shit, but at the same time, like at this point, your ego is like so huge. Like you're talking shit and like you're talking shit, and then it's like, well, Nicki, are you even backing it up at this point? Like you're just talking. Like now it's just noise. And like it's noise. The music doesn't make sense. To me, it's just not adding up. Like, okay, yeah, you feel like Super Freaky Girl should have been, maybe nominated for a Grammy, and you're talking about the categorizations or whatever, but Super Freaky Girl, bad song. Like, bad song. Bad song. You're not even like the bars suck. Like even for the song for what it is, it's like a, oh, very sexy, like that part of, hip hop, uh like it's bad. It's not even good. And to even go back to Queen, there was a song on Queen that was like decent, that was like in that realm. Good form. I think if I'm not mistaken, that might have been one of the singles. I can't remember. But like now you're just yelling at me about how, oh, well, the barbs make my songs chart. Yeah, but that doesn't make them good, Nikki. Like at this point, like, yeah, you have a coalition of people that will make your music do whatever you want it to do, but that does not make it good. Like, and this is why I get frustrated because we have to be going back to the numbers equal good music convo, and it don't. It does not always, like, numbers do not always equal good. And that's frustrating because again, now you're giving Nicki Minaj full reign to be like, yeah, well, my song's number one. Like it should be Grammy nominated. And like looking at it, like, sure, right? It's in the same realm. Like, she had called Lotto out and then called Meg out or whatever. They're in the same realm. But to me, even Traumazine, which I never really listened to everything off Traumazine, had better music. Big Energy is the better song. Just, I'll say subjectively, like to me, it's the better song. Like Super Freaky Girl, Big Energy at least is kind of like, oh, I'm in my car, like, yeah, jamming, like whatever. Super Freaky Girl comes on and I roll my eyes. The hook is lame. Like it's just, and so I'm frustrated now because even still, I think Nicki, wow, I really have just gone like on a long tirade about Nicki Minaj. But because I want better for sis. I really do. Because like, just make the music. At this point, I don't want to hear shit else. She's really on like the Kanye list of people of like talk. And I mean, I don't want anything else from that man. Nothing. I actually just want him on an island away. But I just want Nicki to make music. I don't want to hear nothing else. Or she can talk to me. She can have a TikTok. I don't have TikTok. She can post on Instagram about Papa Bear, that baby. But other than that, Nikki, don't talk to me. I don't want to hear about your husband. I don't care about whatever his allegation. I don't give a fuck. I want to hear about that man. Give me music. Give me baby content. Give me pink wig pictures. But stop yelling at me about how you're mad about what your music is or is not doing or who hasn't given you credit. Because at this point, you are making yourself look funny in the light.
But it goes back to what I said. If we're going to say it goes to her insecurity, because and the only reason why I bring up insecurity is if we go back in hip hop history, and the female, the female MC, you know, you had you had the battle to see, who was best and yada yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
But there was moments where it was a true coalition of unity, like was it ladies night, you know.
Well, and even then, like at this point, and like even in the new age of things, like to bring everybody else in because everybody else is not absolved of responsibility. I too wish y'all would shut up. Like there's one thing again, like everybody's, oh, I have my own opinion. I want to talk about it. This is the social media era, so let's chat. But like for real, everybody could just be quiet. Or in fact, where are the diss songs? There are not enough for me. There are not enough diss songs for me. There are not enough. I got in the studio. Even, reminiscent of Drake's ridiculous ass. There are no charged ups. Like there's nothing. There's just Twitter threads and raggedy blog posts compiling the Twitter threads and going back and seeing who followed who and who said what. Like, give me where the music? Where's the music?
Because music is no longer paramount, as Ice from Joe Budden, shout to him, podcast has always mentioned that everything's a rollout, and really it's now that music is the way to get on, but they try to get out of it as fast as possible to move on to something else that will make them more money.
But this is
And
why
that
I'm
affect
frustrated.
and that's what affects the music. There
But
is
this is why
no
I'm freaking frustrated because you've got Nikki, who is a staple. Like, yeah, of course, she's had her. Remember, there was a time where she had a perfume and she's done different things. But my good sis wants to be the queen, and like she presents herself as if she wants to be that staple. And then she's not making, again, she is a part of these Twitter threads. Like, I can't expect everyone to be Beyonce and just, be quiet or whatever. And I'm not even mad at Nikki for necessarily voicing her opinion, but I wish that these vocalized opinions came with more besides tweets. Like, she didn't even like, I wish I could say Super Freaky Girl was a fun song. Like, I wish I could say, oh yeah, fun song. Like, yeah, I get it. I see why she's, I mean, not to say that I don't see why she's upset as far as a Grammy nomination, but I wish I could say, yeah, you know what? Actually, and in addition to it, it's a great song. It didn't go number one because, TikTok and the Barbs. Like, I want to like it. I want to be a fan, but she has done so much to just alienate, like, I won't say her core fan base because it's not her core fan base, but she's done so much to alienate the people that really rocked with her that I don't know that there's any coming back from it. And then I expect these other girls, again, the other girlies, to chime in. I expect a 20, if I'm Cardi a little younger than me, but I expect 28-year-old Cardi to be mad. I expect Lotto to feel some type of way when she looked up to Nikki. Like, you know what I mean? And if you bait the girls are going to respond.
yeah,
So
that's what I said is really it goes to her insecurity. I think she's insecure because of if you want to go down this route, and I'm not the biggest Nicki Minaj fan, right? But if you want to go down this route, I'm sure you can easily say that her music has tailed off so much. I feel that it's because while she can rap, no one can, discredit
right,
her on her rapping ability.
right.
The artistic part of it may be in question. Like really, like
Yes.
to me, this would be to me, this is when you tell someone as like a true artist to say, go in the, go away, live life, come back, and just speak about where you are in your life. Oh, we got a little mama moment.
I probably won't leave it in the video, but you know. Um
But
but agreed. Like, live the
like
life.
like I think this would have been the perfect. And again, did she officially drop a new album, or is this just like a lot of just of singles?
She dropped, oh, what was that? Oh boy.
It was a re-release.
Let me open that up. It had like the songs with Wayne and Drake on it. But that, I still think that was last year. That wasn't even this
It
year.
was Beat Me Up Scotty.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It was
And
a re-release.
so, but here's my thing, like you said, go off, make some music, right? Like, you know, tend to your, like, even, and that's the thing, like, I also would love to hear something from Nikki. Like, what are you really feeling right now, sis? Like, not that there's real, what am I trying to say? Not that, like, I don't necessarily need everyone to make, we were talking about Cleo Soul. Like, I don't need everyone to make a mother. I don't need everyone to be like, what's it like to have motherhood? And, like, I don't need everyone to make that. But like Nikki, especially now, like you were talking about her artistry, I think Nikki has actually always been confused, and in the insecurity piece of what you're talking about, made music to succeed. And now we're like, hey girl, can you just make some music? Like, what's going on in your head? Like, I know that at 37 with I think Papa Bear probably like 2 or something. Shit, I don't know. Like, I know that the only thing going on in your head right now can't be like, oh yeah, like pussy tight, pussy clean, pussy squeaky. Like, what's happening? is what's happening. And because I know there's something else. And honestly, if you sat and thought about it, I know that you can make the music. Like, again, asking artists to progress. I'm
I
just
think
asking you to do it.
she's caught because she a lot of artists are caught in this TikTok, Instagram, music, trying to be everything at once, and they lose their way, right?
Yeah, I just
I
it
think
frustrates me,
I'm gonna
especially
say
at that level. At that level, like it's almost like you don't have to do that. I mean, again, this makes me think about a previous conversation that we had about superstars. But once you hit a certain level, you don't have to do that no more. Like you actually don't have to do it anymore because regardless of what you create, like regardless of what you or I take that back. Yeah, no, regardless of what you create, your fans are going to carry you. And then you may have people who are gravitating towards your music, whatever it is. But your fans will carry you. So to be in this position where you feel like, oh, like where Nicki Minaj, as queenly as she is, feels like she still has to TikTok it up. Like, and yeah, you can make a TikTok song or two, but like the fact that you feel like you still have to keep up with the Joneses, to me, again, which is what we're talking about, like that ego
that's
versus dichotomy. Like, I mean, that ego versus insecurity dichotomy. Like, why do you even feel like you have to compete, Nicholas? Like, if you're so queenly, let the girls be.
but this
Like,
is but see a true that's what I said a true we always keep hearing these titles kings and queens, right? But you can be humble, right? You can be a queen like she says she is and embrace the new generation, you know.
I'm
So
not even
like
asking for humble at this point. I'm just asking for you to not be an asshole at every turn.
but again that's insecurity. That's insecurity. And really, we have never seen her really address that. Like to me personally, if I was the executive producer, I'm going in there and I'm saying everybody, all the other female MCs, right? Or I'd say the mainstream because I don't want to put Rhapsody or Remy or whatnot because there's so many out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I feel don't get their due. But I'll tell her like, yo, go in the booth, speak on where you're at right now, and if you need that little new energy or whatever, this is when you embrace the new, right? You say to me, even if the song may not come out great, it's at least it's that hint, you know, just like Beyonce did with you got Beyonce did with Chloe Haley, she did with SZA. Who else she did? She did with Meg. Who else?
Side note, I'm down. She also, I forgot about this, but she did something called Queen Radio Volume 1, which was a re release of a bunch of songs and had like maybe two or three new ones. And I'm like, girl, like, because I'm just looking at her discography right now and like, girl, bless, 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 bless. Like, you literally have not dropped an album since Queen, like an album. And even like you could drop me a couple, I mean, I guess like not EPs or whatever, but like Nikki, just
This is the Lucy era that we're
I
in.
just I beg and plead. Just like I said, I just need the ego to make sense to me now. Like just a little bit. And normally egos are like inflated and they don't, but
No, but that's why I said it's like for her, it's personally, it's this. If I'm executive producing her, all you gotta do is this: 10 songs, 10 songs.
and I need at least 7 of them to have hip hop beats. Jesus Lord, Nikki, stop trying to give us hip hop over bubblegum pop beats. Like, can we have a smidge of hip hop, a crumb? I beg. Like, just if you're gonna do it, right? Because I know, sometimes you like pop and pop is fun. But girl, I just ask for, and even, you know what? I'll take it back. If your pop music can be good too, Nikki, just do it, right? Because even like, I remember when Pink Print came out, and a lot of those songs, like, I hated Pills and Potions. I did not like that song. But a lot of people gave, like, there's songs, and there's a song on there called Grand Piano where she's like singing. Like, if you're gonna do it, Nikki, then do it, and like do it well, and stop playing with us. Now, to the other girlies that are being, I'll say, baited, or like, look up to Nicki Minaj and are using her as an example, or like looking up to her as an example, stop. She's not an example. I mean, I guess musically you can say like, yeah, she's successful. Stop looking to her as an example. And also, like, focus on your own music. Like, you don't, and I think even like in Lotto's case, I think she kind of felt bad to, like, be in this predicament because Nikki was somebody she looked up to. And so
There goes that phrase for saying never meet your idols.
I mean, I
Yeah.
just, the girlies are really having a hard time out here, and I want better for them. And I
It,
want y'all to make your music, and I want y'all to actually, I want y'all to make your music. Period. Full stop. Then I would like for y'all to be happy, like, in the success and in like what's happening with your artistry and stuff.
so here's a question. Here's a question that I have for you. It's two things. Is there a lot of hate in, amongst the women?
I don't think that there's any more or less hate than there is in any other like position. I don't think that this isn't one of those scenarios where it's like girls are catty, boys are not. Like, no, it's the same shit, honestly. It's the same shit actually. Like, I don't find it any difference because even the men's is sometimes be going back and forth at each other and stuff like that. So I mean, I don't feel like this is a gendered, like, where it's like women are just mean and bitchy and everyone should love each other. Because also, when you think about like just equality and feminism as a whole, sometimes I just want the girlies to be able to do the same shit that niggas do. Like, and this is a place where it's like I kind of wish that y'all would shut up, but I'm not particularly mad. But I wish, it's more like I wish y'all would shut up just because you don't have to do this, but not because it doesn't happen.
They're
But then
messing.
I would also would like for it to be done at least in the music. But
They messing. They messing. They're messing up on the money up and potential moments.
I mean,
They're
but
look.
that also comes with the thought behind, women don't get a lot of grace to fuck up because a man can fuck up a lot in the public eye. Um, I'm trying to think of one off top. That's not an easy fucking target. I mean, okay, let's look at Future, right? Future just has a bad rap for being a fuckboy. And no, like, nothing stops for Future. You know what I mean? Like, it's been like, oh yeah, he was it a story of maybe he forced or wanted to force a girl to have an abortion or something? You know what I mean? Like the stuff that comes out about
Where are we going with this?
because Future still lives the gravy train, right? Like nobody's punishing him. He just, sold his catalog. Like, I'm just using Future as an example. To whereas you were talking about how women mess up moments, like, why are they not allowed to then just yell on the internet? Like, I know it sounds,
Well, when I say they're messing up the money, right?
it's like that
Is
didn't mess up Future money. His money's still working.
no, that's
his
different, right?
his money's still alive.
But what I'm saying when they're potentially messing up the money, right? Is this has let's just be honest, this has been the most mainstream that female MCs have been, if you really look at it,
Yeah, we're in a
it's
different
like
time.
almost like everyone that's coming out is potentially making bigger music, dropping, creating, just charting like crazy. But there's not a lot of unity, right? That's why I said if you go back, right, there's not that unity that you could say like, okay,
But
uh
is that also like just a, ladies in hip hop specific thing?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So
I
like,
think
yeah, like I guess that's kind of my thing with it too. Like this isn't also particular to just women. Like even when you talk about the lack of unity just in the game as a whole, because music is either the stepping stone or it's easily accessible or whatever, like the lack of unity is across the board. And
why I say that, why I say unity, right? I mean like genuine unity, not this fake unity, right?
that's the thing, because to me, I feel like if you like you said with fake unity, I feel like a lot of that happens with men. Like, oh yeah, we hop on each other's song and like I
Oh,
think we
oh,
cool.
oh yeah,
You know what I
trust
mean?
me.
But like, so I don't think that the unity exists anywhere. Like it's not, again, like the atmosphere around music is different. Like it truly is like, I mean, just like with anything else, like any art form, like it's businessy, like it's there, like the culture behind it isn't like, hey, nah, we really about to art, and like, you know what I mean? Like it's not that. And um or I won't say it's not that for everyone. That's not fair. But in the mainstream, it's not that. It really is just money. And it really is, just numbers or whatever. So
I didn't
it's
expect us to spend 30 minutes talking about this one.
yeah, no, because I'm really about to be like, no more speaking on this. Um, because because it really just brings us back to the point that we always end on when we have these discussions, which is like we need to champion the people doing what we like to see, and like transitioning us, because I do want to like spend a little bit of time talking about um like music, like how like transitioning this into like actual media platforms, and in the way that music is like very, what am I trying to say, commercial, money driven, a business transaction. The platforms are following suit and they have no choice to. um a lot of things, a lot of art forms just lack heart these days, or mainstream art forms. Again, I don't, this isn't me calling out like, again, like the indie people or like the smaller people that are for sure making the music that we want to hear. I feel like that's unfair. You are not included in this. Don't take this the wrong way. um but a lot of mainstream art is soulless, it's empty, it's a cash
it,
grab.
it's ran by algorithms. It's
And
ran by the algorithm. And why, and I just want to, this will end my point um on the Nikki and the female MC topic, right? Once a couple months ago, DJ Premier put out like a 5-track EP about hip hop, and one of the best songs on there was Remy and Rhapsody, and that was a moment, for it wasn't about shaking ass or whatnot. It was just about getting on the mic and spitting your best raps, and that was like one of the best songs on that EP. And there was there's a respect and genuineness of it, right? That's what I meant by there's a moment like we don't have that big, well, I would say ladies' night or something that it was like those female artists, even back in the early early 90s, Latifah, MC Light, they all came up together. It's almost like you cut the teeth together, and it's just, you build with it. Now it's like, number one, they're all rapping about the same thing, so it's the oversaturation of that, of who's that. uh
Everybody all raps about the same thing though.
yes,
That is not
but I'm
again
saying in terms of
the
like
latest.
who's the star, who's the top artist in that. Let's anything, but it's just more in terms of, from in regards to the female MC, you know.
Yeah, and even like I said, like and kind of and in transitioning out of that, the way that and I guess because like you can't like recreate, or I won't say you can't recreate that type of like what you're talking about, that type of like building an artist collabs and like being genuine. It's not being done at the mainstream level anymore because everything is a cash grab and very commercial, and there are very few commercial like big names that I can think of, and I'll say in hip hop specifically, that I can think of that make music that I won't even say they probably want to make this music, don't get me wrong, but like make music with art in mind, like with an artistry in mind. Like a lot of these big artists, it's like it's 1 2 3 4, like it's a process map instead of it being like, yeah, something I want to make. But and like I said, in transitioning, the media platforms follow suit. Like these platforms again do the did you see what somebody was wearing, or covering the chit chat between all the girls squabbling, and then like we miss things like, oh, Remy and Rhapsody have a new song, and it's just because everything's so bogged down by being the number one clicked trending thing. It's very difficult to have like heart and
it's it's
passion. I was looking for like a better another word. Like it's just very difficult to be passionate, and like like we do this and it's fine, but like I just don't know any more mainstream places that are like, yep, we want to, we're talking about music, this is what it is. Like I don't even know any platforms that I go to read anymore, and that makes me sad. Like I think DJ Booth still does pretty decent things. Like I'm not going to throw them under the
it kind of
bus.
it, I
But
think
like
kind
DJ Booth was the last one that I mean, because everybody that was there, like now like Yo 31, one of my favorite writers from DJ Booth, is like doing his own thing. And so
and the
you know, I,
editors working more with Audio Mac.
right, and which is cool like that. And again, it's more and not to say that it's bad, but it's a business transaction. Oh, my money's over here. So this is, I want, and again, he's helping artists. Oh yeah, I want artists to get on Audio Mac, but again, talking about like the words, or you know, at some point, this was a previous dream because now, honestly, I just like to sit and talk about music. Like, but previously, it'd be like, oh, I'd love to be picked up by a publication that would just throw money at us to do the work that they don't want to do, right? Like to do this, but like to have some funding behind it because Lord knows it's not free.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a fever dream. And I'm okay with that. But the plot, like, but look, I will say, and I'll kind of like tie this up a little bit from my perspective. This doesn't disappoint me. Like that's why when people are like, "Well, music sucks," and like nobody's released anything and everything's garbage, and it's like, nah. Like I mean, people are making music now. Whether you find them, like whether you're doing the work that's on you, and that's a choice that you can make. But I will not sit like mainstream music can be in disarray. That is never going to stop me from finding at least 5 to 10 new projects that I like every year to like mess with. And hopefully that does not stop people from believing that there are artists and platforms out there that do the work. They're just probably not mainstream, and you're gonna have to go find them.
Well, I don't know how we segue out of this, but
We don't. We just take a moment to breathe and give ourselves some props, and also, not rage and talk about something that actually is concerning. I don't know how to put this because this is a topic that you're a little more, or that you're more familiar with than I am. But I don't know how I feel actually.
so let me pull up the article just so that I can uh uh keep give facts. So we're going to take it down to Jamaica because this actually, I think, could possibly come overseas. But basically, last week, the Jamaican Broadcasting Commission cracked down on media deemed too violent for television and radio airwaves. The commission issued a ban on broadcasting music that glorified criminal activity, drug use, scamming, and weapons. Commission Chairman Lloyd Waller said using public airwaves for overtly violent conduct could give the wrong impression that criminality is an accepted feature of Jamaican culture and society. He added it can also unwillingly lend support to moral disengagement and further normalize criminality amongst vulnerable and impressionable youth and the young adult demographics. However, the ban does not apply to digital platforms. The article, which I'm reading this off of Revolt, but you can just type in Jamaica ban, it'll pop up on uh, the Guardian, vice versa. Uh, this ban went into effect immediately, so you know, mixed it sparked mixed reactions because Ramesh, a Jamaican entertainment executive, wrote on his Instagram, "While I understand why people feel like this, and even though I don't agree with glorifying guns or any use of any drug at all, we can't stop creatives from saying about what they see around them or grew around." And then Tanya Stevens, a reggae artist, well-known female reggae artist, wrote in an op-ed by in the Jamaica Observer. She said, "Every single time there's great pressure to curb crime or antisocial behavior, some of these very same unchanging heads meet again and roll out the same archaic ban or I'll make I can't read that one. But this ban as a measure. In 2009, the commission attempted to ban music it deemed too sexually explicit. So that's basically the summary of what's going on over there. Now, with you know, literally what I like to call just bang bang shoot 'em up, kill a nigga dead music being glorified over here, and we see almost like every other week or every couple of months, some rap artist is getting locked up on RICO charges or something like that. So my question is, number one, what's your initial thoughts on it? And two, could you see something like that happening over in the States?
I really try, or I did restrain the laugh at the second question because I'm gonna answer the second question first, and that would never happen in
Of course, too
America.
much money, too much money.
It would never happen. My initial thoughts on it are, on one hand, I can kind of see where it would make sense, particularly because it's not a complete ban on like free speech in air quotes, because you can make the music that you want, it just doesn't go on public radio or whatever, right? So on one hand, and I kind of like that, right? Like maybe it's kind of like because like nobody's taking your access away to the internet. So it's like public radio is for children almost, right? I won't say children, but like public radio is the place where you go and you hear, you know, whatever, like just different types of music. And then if you want to hear your other types of music, the things that can't be played on public radio, you go to the internet because nobody's cutting off your access to the internet. So on one hand, I actually, in theory and seemingly in practice, it feels like it could work. Now, on the other hand, I could see why messing with an artist with artist plural with their commercial success is frustrating and harmful. And again, that just kind of puts us back at what we were talking about earlier. Like, is your duty to be an artist? Is your duty to make money? Is your duty to do both? And like that's not shade. Like, that's not me being like, pick one, dickhead. Like, no, like it's just like, and at what point are you like, okay, I'm an artist, so I make art and I'm gonna do it my way, and that's how I do it. Or it's, this is about the funds only, and so like you're cutting my funds off and I have a problem. Or is it somewhere in the middle? I think most artists probably lie, or are like, they probably are in between or somewhere in the middle. It's a mix of both. Um, but I and like you said, talking about in the Americas, I can't be upset. Like, I can't be upset at, hey, I'm tired of every single song being about the same thing. If I have the power, let's put a ban on it. Because first of all, the states, we couldn't even stop ourselves from getting sick from a goddamn virus in all 50 states, safely. So like, do you think that there would be like this nationwide ban on consumable money making music? Like, I really wanted to laugh. Like, it just seems like a joke. It couldn't happen. But I hope that Jamaica, if like the band is going to stay around for a while, because like you said, the one artist was like, "Oh, y'all have done it before, and I guess it's overturned or whatever."
Yeah.
I hope there's a way. I hope there's a middle ground that works for the artist in this. Because, for instance, like public radio don't have to be your bread and butter. You can just make your money online, which a lot of people do anyway. So it's like, okay, but if that's not feasible, then where do we go from here?
For that, I see if it's on two things. It's on two levels, because for Jamaica, you have to know where Jamaica, kind of the background of Jamaica. They're very, I would say for the
And I do
most
not.
part, I would say for the most part, you would have to say, I'm not going to get into that they're based off of a Catholic principle, and that's kind of like, but I'll say it's a
Right,
very,
right.
I'm not going to say they're super conservative either. I think it's just that it's that weird fine line. So I'm
It's
not going
probably hard to articulate too. Like,
it
it's
is
not
because
it's not, something like it's like as far as most of our nations who are founded on some type of Christian principle,
that's what I
like, you
say
know what I
it.
mean? Most of us are funded on the Christian on some type of Christian principle. So there's always this underlying morality complex that comes with that.
That's
Oh, God said, we said this, that, third. So like, there's
that's
that piece of
yeah.
it.
I That's where I'll say like Jamaica is. But again, if somebody else in the comments kind of just give a little background, right? But
Somebody who can do it better than us, because
us.
I don't know.
But what I will say is that Jamaica right now is has a very high violent, murder rate.
Hmm.
You know, uh, so again, is which everything comes down to the money. Is that for a long time, well, still Jamaica it makes their bread and butter off of tourism. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so they're trying to keep an image, but it's also the same time of like every bang bang shoot 'em up, kill a nigga, die slow, or scamming and whatnot. It's like, do we really want that type of marker on not just the music but the people of Jamaica? You know,
And I will also offer up, and this, I mean, obviously specific to Jamaica, but just anywhere, like if let's say, or let's say Pie in the Sky, the way that this band works, public music is what we would the way that I think about it, the way that my brain is going is that all of their publicly consumed music is NPR. Oh, it's curated, fancy dancy. This is art, type music. So let's say that all of the music there, no, what is it? The violence. I think this band is particularly focused on the violence, not the sexual part, because you said that was a different one.
it could.
Or maybe it comes in. But anyway, so let's say that all of the music in Jamaica that's on the public airwaves is like, you know, I don't know why I'm stuck on Cleo Soul's motherhood, but I'm just going to keep running with it. Everything is motherhood and, a an abstract piece on the world today. It's like if that's all the music that's played publicly, do
I j-
they do they see, like, let's say, do they, so what happens? Is it like, okay, I don't listen to the radio no more because I don't want to hear that. I only exclusively want to hear bang bang music, or like the opposite effect happens and it's like, oh, people flock, or like somewhere in between, like, if that's the way it works. What does that say about what people want to consume? And then again, back to me talking kind of to artists, what does that say about what you make? Like, do you make bang bang shoot 'em up music because that's who you are? Which again, no judgment. That can be you. Or do
mhm.
you make that music because it's like, well, I know that sound provocative, because we've heard artists say, I sometimes I be lying. So, or this be how I feel like things will happen, but I don't really know. So like, do you then shift and become an artist that truly just makes music on the lived experience? Or is it just like what do you do? Like there are questions. Um and I don't think there's a right answer, right? Like I'm not saying again, like I just the world that I created in my head made me laugh. Like the NPR music, like if I turn like our station down south or in South Carolina is 103.9 in my area. And if I turned on 103.9 and it's just like only conscious hip hop today, and like, that's just what's on, I really might be like, no, boo, turn this shit off. Cause like I'm not always in the mood to hear, that type of music.
I think it's just low hanging fruit. In terms of, instead of dealing with what are the causes of said
There you
issues,
go. That's
and
not going
what
to
cause.
stop them. That doesn't erase violence. That doesn't mean it's maybe not possibly helpful, but it also does not stop violence.
Yeah.
The only things
So
that stop violence are like making sure that people have the correct amount of money and not starving your nations and maybe taking care of a virus that happened. Like that's the way that you stop
yeah,
people from harming each other. Or I
that
won't say not stop completely, but that's the way that you help that scenario.
but that's going into deeper, darker
The darkest of places. I'm just saying, like,
places, and we're not trying to do that.
no, I
But
can't
in
do
terms,
it.
I don't honestly, it would not surprise me. Literally, I think it's going to be there for until like the end of the year, and then it's going to go away.
Yeah, like you said, like the one artist said that it was there for a bit and then it turns and
Yeah,
it's more to make the headlines. Oh, look at what Jamaica did, and then it fizzles out and
it's still that age gap and whatnot. Like to me personally, and I would say there was a time that there was. I would say that Jamaican, and I'll even say now there's a lot of talented Jamaican artists that talk about that stuff, but how they do it was very creative,
Mhm,
or it was more so of you felt the emotion behind it. You know,
mhm.
they talk about like where they're at because literally, you can be in one part, just like any place. Every place got a ghetto or rough parts
Right.
of it.
Every yeah, no place is like perfectly perfect and squeaky clean and
Yeah.
without crime or whatever.
So if you're going to talk about like what you're seeing, that's one thing. That's one thing. That's being a storyteller. That's crafting. But if you're, like you said, initially just pushing that out there, then you can kind of say, okay, because when you listen to Jamaican music, it's a vibe. It's
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
like it makes you either happy or just brings something out of you that you're like, whew,
Right.
you know. But I think this is more so of, hey, what is the cheapest and easiest way to kind of curb our effects on tourism and potential money, because now it's coming out and scammers and yada yada yada. Nobody wants to come over here. We need, because of everything that happened the past 2-3 years, we need our money back. And on top of that,
Yeah.
hey, if we really want to go down, try to kind of own Jamaica. So
You know, and this is just a brief tidbit, life moments with Candace. Geopolitics, your girl be tapped out. Brain be Dumbo mode. So I did
I,
not know that. I just my brain be no off on
I just I
geopolitics.
just I just say for you, just not to go into going down that wormhole, because I'm the same way. But it's like, just you kind of just need to know kind of like, the lay of the land, right? Um, so I just for you, I just say just do like a quick 10 minutes, or find a little video, some things out there that'll give you like a 5-10 minute that kind of just be like, oh, okay. So
Also just to sometimes I just have these moments of reflection live on the podcast. I just really love how we really be like, haha, music, stuff we love, and then we delve into this. It is very interesting how we get here. And I just think it's super cool. I think I do this once every other episode, but it's just very interesting how we get here and chit chat. And again, if anyone is listening and wants to pick up a podcast, and I don't cost a lot of money. If y'all want us to just talk, I'm open. I'm pretty sure AD is open as well.
mhm.
We're available. So just putting that out there, like it won't cost you very much money, or probably not a lot of money, actually. I mean, we've got the bare bones. Like, if you're out there and you just want to pick us up, and maybe even sometimes you just want to feel like see what you can throw at us and see what we want to talk about, we're interested. It would be nice. You know, the inflation's kicking ass, and it would be great to have some extra money in the pocket. We have families. Okay, just putting that out there for, if anyone, wants to attempt. It's there. Uh
But
I've
this,
got go ahead.
I was going to say, but let's, since after your public service announcement, uh, but I did want to tap onto. I'm not going to tap on the individual, right? Because this is a segue to something that I feel like I'm very passionate about, right? It's about the use of your platform. All right. Everyone knows,
I actually feel like we're gonna have to split this, but yes, let's discuss.
and we can go into the thing, but I just want to go on this, right? I'm on that. I think I'm on that train with you right now of Mr. Ye. That's all I'm going up, right? Of nigga, just shut the fuck up. Of nigga, just shut the
At this point,
fuck
it's
up.
past shut up, and it's just leave the public out of it. Like, you
Like
have
that.
so much money, just go away.
Like that's like this. I feel is more about the platforms and the responsibility of these platforms, right? And I'm not going to go into
Heavy Negro sigh.
I'm not going to go into certain trends that's worrying me, right? You can have your own opinion about what he is saying or doing, even though this motherfucker is falling yet again to another trap, being squandered by money by his little self hatred of a female friend
Mhm.
and her husband for their own personal gain. And he, of course, is trying to do things. This is all money grab and everything's a rollout. So, but we'll go from that. Um, but it's the response of these platforms to check some of these people at the door, right? We
Since
are
you can't hear me, I am visibly angry. I'm full of hot air. For those of you who can't see me, continue. I just needed to narrate for those who can't see.
it's a responsibility. I went to school for broadcast journalism. Candace, you've been. I'm not sure if you went to school for that, but I know you have been in the journalism field of some sort.
Journalism adjacent. I
Like,
went no schooling, just self-taughtedness kind of. Um but again, journalism adjacent, you know, somewhere around
but
there.
there is a responsibility when you are on a microphone.
Or just
There's
in a public discussion forum in general.
yes, there's responsibility. The responsibility is to number one, what is your mission statement? Are you here to entertain, to inform, a mix of both? Pick Not going to say pick one and stay there, but you have what is your mission statement? Number two, if you are going to have a person that is known to go off the rails and spew some ignorant BS, it is okay for you to check them and to check them in a way that is respectable. All
To
right.
to move just to agree with you and to move forward, it's also okay to not do things as we were speaking earlier. It's okay to not do things for clicks. It's okay to not clout monger. Like, it is okay to take a stance and say, I will never speak about that man again
It's
because
okay.
it's stupid.
Or
Like,
if you're going to bring person on it, like I said, it's okay to check him, right? To with certain things called the facts.
I guess at this point, I don't even think that that is something that happens. Like, you bring the man anywhere, and it's always
But I'm just saying,
shenanigan.
this could be with him. This could be against anybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you are on this microphone, you you hold, especially in a forum, you hold certain responsibilities, especially if you want to run under this new media or hey, I'm an artist and I'm crossing boundaries and yada yada yada. Okay, then
Mm-hmm.
you need to learn how to do real to be a real journalist.
You at least need to try. You need to have a
It's
valiant attempt.
it, do that, and it's also just talk of just common sense. All right, Nori. If Nori what for what happened with him, number one, he got played by Kanye. All right. Number two, you brought him on there because again, you want clicks and views. And now that when everyone's saying like, you kind of
You
look at
get
you look
bad clicks and views.
that's the difference, right? And again, which a lot of people and I've been saying this for a while is you're not a good interviewer. Your format is very flawed. But go ahead. But again, and once you're bringing certain people, you could easily say, "Yo, that ain't I ain't rocking with that," or like this. I'm not gonna let you go down this route. Let's move on, right? It's a simple thing of controlling the environment. It's not censorship because I'm tired of people saying well, you're trying to censor me. Everything's a free speech. No, 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 no. You can turn the conversation or just check somebody real quick and say,
Or just be
eh,
like, yeah, this is my platform. You're not going to overtake it because Lord knows. I mean, again, we've had a couple of guests. If any of my guests have ever been like, whatever, crazy, I'm going to be like, and I'm going to stop you right there. Period. Full stop. Like, and again, I don't ever think that I would choose somebody that would make me have to even enforce that. But it just feels so I'm exhausted, honestly. Like, I mean, first of all, we started out the show with a very exhausting discussion piece, and even ending on this is just like, but you as y'all have to do better. Like as
this
media
that's what it is.
people,
It's
as like the choices that you make have to be better. And again, just doing things for clicks, views, and clout like can't beat a wave. Y'all have to do fucking better.
there it like I said, there is right now, and I forgot the person said, but I agree with her. There is uh there is a void of hard journalism in the music space because everybody wants to be buddy buddy or
Or the opposite. I feel like we were saying earlier, I don't think everybody necessarily hates each other, but everyone's so my thing's the most important. I don't even think it's buddy buddy. I think it's
no.
more
When I say buddy buddy, it's access.
mm,
So that's what I mean. It's not somebody can ruffle the feathers a little bit or like really get into because literally everybody's like laughing or doing X, Y, and Z of saying, "Hey, I'm hugging you, man. This is great." Thing it's like sometimes it's just like this. No, I'm doing my job. Is we have a healthy respect, but right now, none, nah, motherfucker. You ain't messing up my bread. This is my job, and I think a lot of artists who want to become journalists need to learn that there is ways to handle an interview. If
mm.
you are not comfortable in said interview, it is okay to say, you know what, I'm not going to bring you on at this time, or eh.
Just
They say,
discernment, the choices here.
and that's where I'm going to go. I could go further with it, but to me, you have a responsibility. And people say, don't apologize. No, you kind of do have to apologize because when a newspaper or magazine that's of reputable and of editorial integrity makes a mistake, what do they put out? They put out a edit or note of saying, hey, on this blah blah blah, we got X, Y, and Z wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's a little bit of misinformation from here, but everything else is good. That's all you can do. So
It
again, if you want to be in this media space, you gotta learn how to be a full interviewer and not
or
just
just know your limits. Cause like for instance, like when you were asking me, you were like, yeah, well, like, are you in the journalism space? Like again, the things that I taught myself, even when because I would always align myself and say, I am not a critic. Haha, knee slap. But I'm all like, I never wanted to say I aligned myself with a journalist because I never felt like I had enough credential. And I would always say that, oh, yeah, like this is, again, you were asking about mission statements. BINACT's mission statement has always been to, big up, the artists making great music and to discuss and gush about them, but not in a way that is again super nerdy. Like that has always been the stance of this platform. Or I won't say not super nerdy, but in a way that's like super in a way that is journalistic. Like that's actually the word that I want to use. I've done because I was chopping myself off at the knees. I used to do very in-depth things. The platform has done this. I've thrown shows. So like the platform has had very lofty and big undertakings, but the mission behind it was not to say because I am the number one resource for this information, because I have done, I have researched this artist. Like, I've done research, for the things that I've had to do with BINACT, but it does not come at I am a knowledgeable source, or I've cited sources to do this. My source is myself. Our source is ourself in this podcast. And like, again, we'll pull up articles and make sure that we at least have the bare minimum that we have like on our basis. But at the end of the day, we're still creators. And again, with people, because people have either said, oh, this is journalism, oh, this isn't journalism. That is for the people, especially like you guys with the broadcast journalism degrees and those things. That is not for me to assert myself and say. And I'm okay with that. But I started that rant and I'm going to tie it up. You just have to know the bare minimum. And like you said, like with artists, they get into the game and like sometimes artists are like, make music, make money. That's it. Like, nah, you got other stuff going on here. And then when you ascend to a certain level, you become a figurehead. And like, you have more to worry about than ha 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 said funny thing, racist thing, whatever thing, and like free speech, I can do what I want. Like, no, like people look up to you, and whether you want to believe that or not, or whether you want to take responsibility for that or not, the world's watching. And if you don't feel a responsibility to be better, like because the world is watching, then go away respectfully. Leave us alone.
You
Like
can
if
have
you don't care, why should I care?
you can have free speech, but you are always but you're not free of consequences.
I feel like I say that all the time. Um, yeah, I mean, actually, I feel like that's a perfect place to stop because for one, we could discuss this for longer, but for two, I think that this is up there with that Astro World episode of just heaviness. Um,
Well,
and there
since
was
we're
a
right,
lot going on
there
here.
is, and we could go into this, but we're on the time crunch, and it's 2 minute warning. So let me go with my recommendations.
Hit him.
Uh,
Tell me. I literally only have like one,
I'll
and
give I'll give two real quick.
boom,
Uh, Speaking of, since we talked on Jamaica, I went back listened to Damian Marley's Halfway Tree album,
look
one
at
of the
that.
first albums for me personally that really connected me with dancehall and just reggae music in
Mm,
general to get more in depth with it. Has Tretch, Bounty Killer, Dragon, Eve, Jimmy Cozier. I want to say that's the name, but it's like a little bit of everything on there before Welcome to Jamrock, because I think everyone just keeps forgetting about Welcome to Jamrock.
mm,
It keeps bringing up Welcome to Jamrock, but that's that. But to me, that's like just real good music. Um, and then in terms of what to watch, uh, Lawrence Fishburne produced a documentary
oh,
on Jason Wilson. If you don't know who Jason Wilson is basically a teacher to young boys and to become young men
hmm.
through the art of martial arts. And
Hmm.
if you and I'm sure you've probably seen the video of him and one kid crying.
I have not.
You probably have if I showed you the video, but it was
Maybe.
literally a video of a boy. There were of him in a class, and the boy started to was hesitating and whatnot, and Jason basically was like, "What's going on?" And the boy started crying, and this is kind of what launched him to like more notoriety because
Hmm.
he said, I'm not clowning you. Let me know what's causing this. What's causing this pain? You gotta let it out." And what we didn't know, what a lot of people didn't know, was this is from his non I want to say it's non-profit, but his academy that
Mm.
so it's just really focuses on that and just talks about um it was really good because it talks about Jason, talks about like three boys in his class, and talks about his right hand, who basically he's mentoring to take his spot. So many stories and the emotion in there. It came out on ESPN. It's called The Cave of Adullam. Uh, Adullam, yeah, Adullam. I'm sorry if I mispronounced, but it was very powerful. 2 hours. I think it'll probably come back out on ESPN at some point,
Hmm.
but it was really, really powerful. Like I shed some tears. Um, just made me just sit with myself for a minute, and just really seeing their journeys. And like I said, it was like really, really powerful stuff. And I even reached out to Mr. Wilson online just to just tell him how great this documentary was. And I knew it was coming out, and I was like wondering like what's going on. And I heard that it was at film festival. I was like, I just really want to see this, and it did not disappoint me. So that is my two recommendations.
First of all, that sounds very dramatic and a little too heavy for me. But thank you for sharing, and maybe I will watch when I'm ready to cry. Um,
It's real. It is real. It is really good, and I've read both of his books, "Cry Like a Man" and "Battle Cry." Oh my,
it
like
sounds like a watch. I
like
can't
what?
promise you that I will watch it anytime soon,
Not
but
Candace. This is some. Do
I'm not ready to
you
cry, baby.
if you hear the passion mom voice, right?
No,
It
that's why I said that's why I'm steering away from it because I am not ready for that type of emotion.
it's a easy
Easy? I
it's
feel
an
like
easy.
that's not the word you want to
No,
use.
when I say it's an easy watch, it's like 2 hours. It's I say it's more like 90 minutes, right? Because of commercials and all that. But it is an easy watch, right? But it
But Imma
touches.
cry, that's not easy.
But
That's not easy.
like
Crying is
he,
not
but like
easy.
now, but it's in there.
Feelings are not easy.
It's something not just men need to watch. Women need to watch as well.
Yeah, this isn't me saying I will never watch it. I am not in the headspace to watch that right now. And let me tell you why. So with my recommendation, I did get to talk specifically about Ari Lennox last episode.
Hmm.
Um, and I like that. And then I did finally get around to Kenny Mason's album. 2 thumbs up. Love it, enjoy it. Cool. Like I like it. It's typical Kenny Mason, very enjoyable. Productions, very gritty. Kenny Mason. Now, what I watched, because I wasn't even thinking about anything that I watched, but I recently watched the Cyberpunk 2077 anime, which is nowhere near as insightful about what you're talking about. But I too cried about fictional characters. And first of all, I get very attached to fictional characters. And so it's even
We're talking about an anime. We're talking about anime for a game that flopped.
I mean, the game part we're not talking about that. I'm talking the anime itself was it was good. Um but I get very attached to fictional characters. So when you bring in the real, like human being people into it, it's even worse for me. So you got to give me about 2 to 3 business weeks to recover. Because honestly, um, yeah. So that's that. So those are my recommendations. Kenny Mason's album. It's called Roughs, and Cyberpunk 2077. If you are listening to this, you've probably 9 times out of 10 at least seen one episode. Just with my knowledge of our demographic. But yeah, yeah, feelings. So not saying that I will not ever watch your recommendation, but I just need time because I finished it Sunday. So I need time. Um but yeah, I just this episode has been like so good and I can't wait to figure out how to promote this one. So there's going to be some good things to talk about or to talk about with folks on the interwebs. But yeah, it's also very late for us. And so we have to exist as humans and family members and things. So we are going to wrap up. I think this is actually our longest episode. We've never
It,
I don't think we've ever hit a hour and 30 minutes. I'll
it,
go back and check. But I believe will be our longest episode ever.
it feels like it.
It feels like it'll be the longest episode ever. So thank you for listening to the BINACT podcast where we talk music, the people that make it, and the communities that listen to it. Feel free to pause this episode, take a little break, get some water, and we will be back with you in 2 weeks. Bye.